When most people think of feminine energy, they automatically think of what is considered light feminine energy. But there's this other piece of feminine energy that has been suppressed over time, which is dark feminine energy. Now, dark feminine energy is not just an aesthetic. As you can see, I'm in a dark feminine energy mood with the background. It's about the power that you have within you. And today we're going to be discussing the difference between light feminine energy, dark feminine energy, why you have both, and how to integrate them and balance them out within you. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without all the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. We've been talking a lot about feminine energy. We've been talking a lot about healthy relationship dynamics, manifestation, nervous system regulation, all that good stuff. So make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any of it. And for those of you who've been asking about, like, okay, well, how do I cultivate more feminine energy in an easy way? I have a free guide for you. So it's the Enhance Your Feminine Energy Guide. It'll walk you through a 7-day-ish kind of process on how you can increase feminine energy in your life in different areas of your life. And it's totally free, so you can download that below. It'll also get you added to our email list where you will be the first to know when we have new trainings, new products, all of those kinds of things. So let's first talk about light feminine energy, because that's the one that most people are accustomed to when they think about feminine energy. It's soft, it's playful, it's radiant, it's compassionate, it's playful, and it's open. So it shows up a lot as kindness, as warmth, as empathy, as unconditional love. If we're looking at archetypes, it shows up a lot as the maiden, the mother, or the muse, and it uplifts, heals, and comforts. Now, light feminine energy, if we're going to break it down into something very simple, it helps people feel safe and loved. Now, dark feminine energy, and remember, you've got both, right, is a little bit different. Dark feminine energy is just as important, but it's a lot of times it's very misunderstood, and it's definitely been demonized throughout history. So you could see that light feminine energy is almost like held to this like pedestal or esteem, especially like the mother type of energy. But when it comes to dark feminine energy concepts, which every woman has inside of her, by the way, if you want to manifest, oof, it's definitely more of a dark feminine energy kind of thing. You know, she's oftentimes misunderstood or demonized because it's an energy of depth. It's an energy of mystery. It's about power and it's about raw magnetism. So it shows up as boundaries. It shows up as seduction. That's where it comes up a lot. It shows up as transformation. Like think of the phoenix rising from the ashes. And it shows up as fierce truth. It's the energy, if we're looking at archetypes, of the queen. Although if you've taken any of my trainings, you know I prefer empress, but let's keep it simple. Of the queen, it's the priestess, who is the keeper of the mysteries, and it's the temptress, who is seductive. So the dark feminine energy, right, isn't just about nurturing. That's more the light feminine energy. The dark feminine energy can challenge. She can awaken things within you and within others, and she can destroy what no longer serves, because dark feminine energy, it commands respect, it sets standards, and it draws others in with irresistible intensity. I always think of Morticia Adams when I think of dark feminine energy, and Gomez is obsessed with Morticia. Now, notice how Morticia is very kind. She's a beautiful, loving mother, and at the same time, she has this like intensity about her and this kind of like darkness about her. That's why we all love Morticia Adams, because Morticia Adams can use both at the exact same time. So here's how they work together. You know, light feminine energy, think of it like the sun, right? It's radiant, it's warm, it's open. Dark feminine energy is more like the moon. It's mysterious, it's magnetic, it's powerful. Another way we can look at it is, you know, in our own cycles, right? Like perhaps light feminine energy is when you're ovulating and you're extroverted and you want to be out there and be friends with everybody. And the dark feminine energy is when you're bleeding and you don't, and you're a little bit more irritable and you're a little bit more like internal and in the depths of everything going on in there. So one without the other is incomplete. And what have I said over and over again? Everything in the universe is made whole because of the law of polarity. So too much light feminine energy results in the doormats, the people pleasers, or the overgiving. Too much of the dark feminine energy can make you intimidated or guarded, and both of them at their worst are manipulative as hell. Right? So we don't want to go in the extreme of either direction. We want to learn how to use both of them. And, when it comes to feminine communication and communicating in a way that inspires people, you definitely see how both are used in feminine communication. Now, if you need help with that, I have recently opened one-on-one coaching spots, and you can apply for that below because that's part of what we work on. Now, when you integrate both, you actually have a lot more embodiment and feminine wholeness. You're a woman who can soften and nurture, and at the same time, you're a woman who is not to be messed with. And what's interesting is when you embody your dark feminine energy, you don't have to emasculate anybody. You don't have to be demanding. You don't have to be complaining, and you don't have to be manipulative. You don't need to, because it's more about the internal power, and people are going to know not to mess with you, and you're going to know exactly how to communicate it in a way that still awakens something within other people. Now, when you're embodying both feminine energies, here's what it looks like, right? So let's say you're a bit more in the dark feminine. Let's say you're like, I've gone too far in that direction. Maybe I'm really guarded. Maybe I'm hyper independent. I've gone too far into the dark, right? So one of the things you want to do is you want to start bringing in more of the light feminine energy. It's practicing gratitude and compassion. It's learning how to be playful again, simple pleasures in life and openness. It expresses beauty through softness and kindness. So one of the things that my husband says about me all the time, he was part of the reason why I fell in love with you is because you're such a kind person, right? Doesn't mean I'm a doormat though, because I know how to embody dark feminine energy when I need it. So let's say you're on the lighter side and you've gone too far in that direction. You're overgiving, you're a doormat, you're tolerating too much nonsense. Those of you who have I guess they both extremes would have worthiness issues just showing up in different ways. But this would be like the doormat and the overgiver. If you've gone too far into the light feminine energy, you want to learn how to set firm boundaries without apology. And again, it's not about demanding and it's not about complaining. There's ways to do that as a feminine woman where you don't have to emasculate anybody and you don't have to be super hard on the outside and people still know not to mess with you. It's an energy type of thing. And then in addition to that, you want to learn to tap into your sensuality and body awareness. Because remember, she's the sensual one, she's the seductress. And then on top of that, you want to embrace shadow work, right? So you want to look at your wounds, your anger, and your desires. I could do a whole training just on desires, but desire is a big part of this, is women learning how to own those desires. And it doesn't just have to be sexual desires. It could be whatever you desire, period, in life, because you are the creatrix. And really learning how to tap into those and honor them. So here's why this matters in relationships, and I would venture to say relationships of all kinds, because you don't have to be in romantic relationship in order to require the use of both energies. However, for the sake of simplicity, let's keep it to romantic relationships. Men, especially the masculine men, they love this. They love it when a woman can weave in between the two. I did a video recently where I said lately women have become very like one note and very predictable and very one-dimensional. Well, one way to avoid becoming one-dimensional is to know how to use both of these energies and really embody them and balance them out within yourself, because that's when men are like, man, she has all these different sides to her. I'm always discovering something new. That's why they say that, right? So the light feminine energy, it makes them feel very loved. The light feminine energy makes them feel cherished and appreciated. However, the dark feminine energy, which masculine men need this because it's one of their primary drivers, is challenge. The dark feminine energy challenges him. The dark feminine energy keeps that spark alive in the relationship. And the dark feminine energy draws out his depth and his emotion. Okay, that's why you need both in relationships. And like I said, you come off as a more dynamic woman as a result of it. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm always like seeing a new side of her. I don't know what I'm gonna get today. And she'll like keep them guessing. They love that. And then together, these energies are going to create polarity, they're going to create attraction, and they're going to create passion. Because as a woman, you need to learn how to master both of these to be able to communicate well with a man and keep polarity in the relationship. So remember, your femininity, your feminine essence is not one dimensional. And I say this over and over again, it's also not about performance, right? Those of you who are using it for performance, you're still being one dimensional. This is about the embodiment and knowing when to use these energies. And as I've said, there are situations where you're using both energies at the same time. And if you need help with understanding how that works and how to do that, apply for one-on-one coaching with me, because the reality is you are both light and dark, right? And they're both feminine. We see it in pantheons of mythology and gods and goddesses in like every freaking culture. They have the light feminine ones and they have the dark feminine ones. They have the mother-like figures and the maidens and all that kind of stuff. And they have the ones that will cut you in a heartbeat, right? With their power. They both exist because they're both feminine. And when you embrace both of them, you become very magnetic, you become very dynamic, you become very radiant, and more importantly, you become whole and embodied, because it's no longer about a performance or being one dimensional. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And as I mentioned, if you want to learn how to enhance more of that feminine energy in your life, you can sign up for our free guide, which I will leave in the description and in the first comment below. And you can also find all the other ways to work with me and workshops and masterclasses that we have available below as well. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. Stay radiant, and I'll catch you on the next one.